Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today... Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 4 of my From Zero playthrough. I don't really know what we have to do today, because this is my second sit-down with this account, so the last couple episodes were all, you know, me one after the other, where this one is a new sort of play session, so to speak. So, we got our Taxon, that's cool. Let's go ahead and check our arsenal and see how we're doing down there. Volt's level 7. We've got just redirection equipped, and that's okay for now because our capacity is super low. I want to get myself a non-flawed vitality. That's like high up there in my to-do list. We got my Scana, level 3. Still can't throw anything on. It's kind of odd how pressure point, even though it's flawed, is still 4 capacity. That's interesting. Oh well, doesn't matter. We're going to level up, and we just claimed our Taxon, so we go ahead and we equip that, and we equip the Artax. Can't throw any mods on it yet, and we're good to go. We're good to continue. I guess we can check our mods and do kind of like a cleanup and see what duplicates we got. We don't need ammo drum. We don't need this, I mean, flawed steel fiber. We've got 2 of them. I guess we can sell 1. Dissolve it. Cool. All right, and this redirection. We definitely don't need that. So... 1.1k endo stacked up. That's very nice, but we can't really use it yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at our progress. Mercury, defeat 5 Eximus enemies. Okay, that's done. That was quick. Rescue a hostage at Linea on Venus. Complete 10 waves of defense on Tessera and defeat the Jackal. So I guess we're coming here for 10 waves. That's all right. I did equip that. Did I have a Stormbringer on my Paris? Let me just go ahead and double check. I have very, very bad short-term memory. Yeah, I knew I had a Stormbringer. So that's all right. There's a weird audio fade there as well. Let's go ahead and start up Tessera. Now, the reason I wanted to equip Stormbringer is elemental damage mod. It's going to give us 25% bonus damage versus the Corpus's shields, right? Because we're playing against Corpus. They have blue health bar, that's shield. Electric damage is going to give us bonus, which is awesome. So, yeah. I'm actually using a new audio setup today. I'm using a Shure microphone, going straight into a Steinberg UR44. So, hopefully you guys can't hear my keyboard, and there's no white noise or anything like that, like there was in the previous 3 episodes, and the sound quality is all fan-dabby-dozy and whatnot. Awesome in one shot. Cool. We got to stay here for 10 waves. That's no big deal. So this is kind of like your first introduction to different reward rotations if you stay past wave 10. So how the reward structure kind of works in Warframe is whenever you're playing the likes of an endless mission, be that survival, defense, excavation, interception, etc., etc., every time you complete an objective, you're going to go through the sort of reward rotation table, I guess you could call it. The reward table, whatever. So there is AA, AA, there is B, and then there is C. So once we hit wave 5, think of that kind of like 1 objective being complete. And then once we hit wave 10, think of that as 2 objectives being complete. Wave 15, 3 objectives, wave 24, so on and so forth. So on wave 5, we get a reward from reward table A. On wave 10, we get a reward from can't speak. A reward from reward table A, and then on wave 15, we get one from B, another one from C on wave 20. So that's how that works. And then once you get to 25, it just resets. It goes A, B, C again. And that is how the different rewards tables work, so to speak. So you're supposed to get better rewards as you go up them, but it really depends on what it is that you're farming for, right? So it's not as if you're going to be getting more of what you want in rotation C. You might just be getting something different. So it's just different rewards per drop table, I guess is the best way to put it. So it's not like it's a 110% must every single time you play a defense mission to go to wave 20 as a newer player, but definitely whenever you get to the point where you can hold your own and you can stay to wave 20, it's probably worth it just for a little bit extra endo or more relics or something like that. Well, endo we've kind of touched on a little bit, but whenever it comes to relics and stuff, we haven't really talked too much about that just yet. So whenever we get there, we can talk a little bit more about that, and that should be relatively soon. Could maybe get there. Nah, it probably won't be in this play session, but pretty soon, I guess. I mean, it kind of depends how fast I play, but this defense mission is going to take up a decent amount of time. I say that we're on wave 3 already. If I just play better, then we'll get through it faster, but there's not a lot I can do while playing as Vault, you know? So, other than that, I've seen a lot of comments talking about, you know, how am I not tired playing for the game again, or, you know, do I not find it kind of boring that for me to get any enjoyment out of Warframe now, I have to start a new account? And honestly, like, I know it can kind of be boring as somebody who watches Warframe, watching the same thing over and over and over again, because, like, I don't watch any other Warframe YouTubers. Like, maybe the odd time I watch a Brozime video if I'm completely not playing and I want to hear about, you know, a new weapon that gets added into the game or something, but most of the time I feel like Warframe content on YouTube, unless it's like a bug or something insane, is really, really predictable. You know, it's like you can see the title and you have a general idea of what is going to be in the video or what the video is going to be like, unless it's something absolutely insane. So, for example, something that would have piqued my interest as a Warframe content consumer would have been like somebody teaching me about Void Strike versus the Eidolons whenever the Plains of Eidolon update came out, right? Because, you know, obviously Warframe is a community or a product or service, whatever you want to call it, that I'm invested in, and knowing the most efficient way to do things or something absolutely insane or ridiculous, you know, revolving around the game is what I kind of gravitate to. But as for, like, you know, build videos and news videos and stuff like that, like, news videos, that's just something I'm going to see in my Twitter feed. You know, it's the reason that you don't really get a lot of news videos out of me unless it's something like really, really big. I've tried doing like dev stream breakdowns and stuff like that, but the thing is, for me, like, it's so boring because I know that everybody could just jump on the Twitter and see, oh yeah, you know, they showed off Whisper or whatever, you know, and or they could just go and watch the dev stream themselves if they're really, really that interested. People like breakdowns, I get that, but 9 times out of 10, the dev streams aren't sort of interesting enough for me as somebody who's been around in Warframe to want to break them down, you know, because being around in the game for 2 years, a lot of the stuff that gets shown on dev streams is usually very, very small snippets of what we actually get. Things tend to change, and sometimes things just don't get added. Like, I'm pretty sure last year they talked about adding raids back into the game, like, within the year, because they had removed them. Was it last year that they removed them? I'm pretty sure it was last year, but they removed them because they call it spaghetti code. Like, it just, anytime they add something new into the game, it would break. So, like, if you added Gara into the game and then you took Gara into a lot of Retribution and you used her fourth ability or something, like, it might crash the game or something weird like that. So they just completely remove raids from the game to fix that issue of having to constantly go back and fix them, which obviously, as a development company, that's going to save you a lot of manpower and time, just completely outright moving what completely breaks the game, I guess you could say. But I don't know, raids were such a draw to the game for me, you know? Like, whenever I describe Warframe to somebody who's never played it before, I'm like, this is a co-op space ninja hack and slash, no, space ninjas with magic looter shooter, you know? Co-op space ninjas with magic looter shooter hack and slash with space combat and open worlds. Yeah, that's how I would kind of describe it, I guess. I don't know, with its own unique theme. I don't know, defining Warframe or explaining Warframe to someone is hard, but I would say that it's, you know, co-op is the main way that I would describe it, right? It's a co-op game. But lately, with a lot of the content that's been added into the game, that sort of co-op, I feel, has been falling off. And you'll actually see that as I go through this series. Like, I will very, very rarely want to play with people in this game, you know? It really sucked the enjoyment out of streaming Warframe content. Because, like, sure, I can invite people and they can play with me and they can get the rewards, but I don't actually need these people with me to help me, right? So, like, let's say you're playing an interception mission. Like, why would you not just, you know, bring Equinox and spam sleep everywhere and do it solo? That way you have more control over the enemy AI, and there's less likely for mess ups, you know, because it's a very controlled environment by you, and people don't go around killing the mobs that you have crowd controlled, right? So, I don't know, like, ever since raids have been removed, even though that they weren't the most complex things in the world, it was still a reason to play Warframe with your buddies. And you can make the arguments for, you know, relic farming or whatnot. You could, you know, farm a prime frame more efficiently if you're playing with a group of people. But I think that's the extent of it, right? That's where my co-op experience for Warframe kind of stops. And there's only a limited amount of prime stuff in the game that you can farm from relics, right? So it's not like you have an endless amount of content to use relics. Of course, you can keep on farming. You can save up prime sets for platinum and whatnot, but that's like one very repetitive and bland way of co-oping with your buds, right? It's like, yeah, if I say to my friend, hey, you want to play Warframe? And they're going to think to themselves, what? So we can, you know, run this one relic capture mission over and over and over again because that's the most efficient way, or that's the way that makes the most sense to farm things. They're probably going to think to themselves, hey, no, I don't really want to do that, right? So raids were just something different. You could do them once a day, and it was about getting everybody in the community together to sort of work towards a common goal, getting that arcade at the end of the mission. And we don't really have that anymore in Warframe. Again, you could say, but Eidolons is a very, very, I don't want to say toxic. Well, I mean, I suppose it really depends who you are. Eidolons can be toxic for somebody who doesn't have a community to play with. So for me, it's not that big of a deal because I can just hop on stream and literally anyone in my Twitch chat, you know, they will be willing to do Eidolons. Or like if they do mess up in an Eidolon fight, like let's say they're running a Blessing Trinity build that only has 73% Blessing, I can say, hey man, you're building wrong, and then I can show them how to do it, and not in a negative way. But whenever it's like over text chat, you know, it's very, very hard to figure out how a person is kind of talking to you, so to speak. So like, if someone says, hey man, you're building wrong, they might not mean it in an aggressive or upset with you manner. They may just be trying to help you, but if you're a neurotic person, you can definitely take it the wrong way, and you can view it as a person being mean. And that's where Eidolons, of course there's going to be shitheads out there. That's 110% going to happen with any video game that you play, and it is more likely to happen in an environment or a game mode where, you know, time is of the essence, I guess. So I don't know, like, Eidolons are cool and everything, but it's definitely not for everyone. The barrier of entry is pretty high, but then again, you could also make the same arguments for raids, but it was a lot less so for raids, right? All you really needed was a Rhino Warframe with a range build and efficiency on there and duration, and then that was it. Like, you were raid ready. So having that low barrier to entry, I guess, is really, really good, and maybe having raids be a progressive thing in itself. Like, you can, you know, do better in raids the more you progress through the game. Like, they are challenging like a gear check where you need a certain frame or a certain set of frames to, you know, do a certain objective, but not challenging to the point where you need to have a super duper optimized gear set. You know, you just kind of need this Warframe and use one of its basic functions to achieve this goal type of thing, rather than, oh yeah, you need to have Haro that has this build and this duration stat, you know, specifically with a Trinity of this duration stat specifically, yada yada yada, that type of thing. It's just kind of how I view it, to make it accessible for everybody. I guess that's the word you would use, accessible, making it accessible. But you also like have to keep in mind that a big attraction for Warframe is the option to do and play how you want. So I don't know, man. It's a fine line that you walk with trying to sort of gear check people, and I don't know. I don't know what else I can really say about it other than I just wish raids in some way, shape, or form, even if Law of Retribution just returned, I wish it was back in the game because I miss the co-op element of it. I miss having a reason to jump in to Discord voice chat other than Relics and whatnot to play with my friends. And even at that, with Relics, you didn't necessarily have to jump into a voice chat with anybody. You can just say, hey, you want to do a rad share? And then that would be it. But with raids, it's like, oh yeah, you gotta teach people, and sometimes you have to yell at people, not in a bad way, of course, but you gotta be like, we had this one guy called Milo, and like I'm never gonna forget this dude, but every single time that we did a raid, we gotta move on to the next rescue mission, by the way. Every single time that we did a raid, he would just, there was a lift fisher, funny we're talking about relics, he would just completely mess it up like all the time. He didn't mean it, right? I don't think he meant it, but it was funny but also frustrating at the same time. And just hearing somebody yell Milo in the background, because we had like not a dedicated raid group, but we had regulars, and they were just like, Milo for fuck, you know? It was the funniest thing ever, and it really helped me get through my day of streaming. And I know that's gonna sound ridiculous to people who have a full-time job, but look at it from my perspective. You're somebody who is sitting behind this monitor for 8 hours a day. You're waking up in the morning time. You maybe stream from 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock. Basically the equivalent to a 9 to 5. And you get a break every single hour for 3 minutes. Like, if you keep on doing the same repetitive stuff over and over and over again, especially with Warframe, and it's not as easy as just, you know, playing another game, because then people start to leave because you're playing another game. You want to maximize your viewership at all times, so you maximize your revenue, and especially in a very, very volatile industry such as creative content on the internet, it's kind of just something that you have to do. Well, it can get pretty bad. Pretty bad in the sense that you're kind of just slouched there, and you're like, I've got to do relics again, you know. I just have to keep on doing relics, or I have to do this mission where I'm getting a gyro mag because this one guy in chat needs it again, you know. So it gets a little bit too repetitive, and having that one raid in the game for me back in the day whenever I started streaming, just having Law of Retribution, that saved it for me, dude. It really, really did, because I could jump in the voice chat and I'd be meeting a new person every single day, you know? It's like, this is a new personality that I get to speak to and talk to, and then they become a part of the community. And that's where a lot of the core members within my Discord community, if you're not part of that, in the description, by the way, that's where a lot of the core members from my community came from. The fact that we were just doing, you know, raids with new random people, and we had different generations of people who, you know, came to the Discord because they kind of came in waves. They stuck around, and it was just like regular people in chat every single day. But since that co-op element is lacking in Warframe now, then everybody's just moved on to another game, because there's absolutely no reason to play Warframe with anybody else. Like, the reason to co-op in a co-op game is almost non-existent aside from relics, and that's just how I feel personally. Interested to know how you guys feel about it, but I really, really think that instead of Warframe lacking endgame, they're really lacking that co-op element in the first place, and I feel like they need to restore that before they restore anything else, right? You could also say Eidolons needs co-op, but you can solo Eidolons, you know. Just get better gear, Forehead. Just keep on getting better gear, and you can solo Eidolons in no time. But yeah, man. That's my stance on it, and it's really, really upsetting, because this used to be a game that I could just spend hours on, you know, on my main account, because like that raid, it was just enough to freshen it up in the day for me. Kind of kept my hand in my own community, in the Warframe community, I guess you could say. But ever since that they've kind of shifted away from that, it's been gone. And the same could be said about the void keys too, right? So void keys, like, you wanted to make the most out of a void key every single time you ran one, so it made sense to stay for as long as possible. So for you to push yourself to the limit, you needed another 3 people. So there's a reason to co-op in a voice chat with those void keys. So just the co-op element of Warframe is gone. And props to DE. I think that they're kind of trying to amend that with Railjack. But the thing is, it's not going to be the same. You know, like, Railjack is going to be getting into a ship and maybe getting out of the ship into Arcwing, and then going into another ship and then killing all the bad guys in that ship and then getting out again. Like, it's going to be one person that's in the Railjack ship shooting at this other big ship. One person's going to be in Arcwing doing all these other things. We got a stretch mod, by the way. And you're going to have about maybe 1 or 2 people in this other ship killing a bunch of bad guys in there. And it's just not going to be the same, you know? Like, it's going to be like disconnected, disjointed co-op. And that's not exactly what I feel a lot of Warframe players are looking for, right? Like, I don't think I lie whenever I say to a newer player that the real experience of Warframe is the learning, and then also the cooperative experience. It's the people that you meet along the way, and also what that person or that group of people teach you about the game, you know? So, I don't know. It was a good talk that I had with you guys, or with myself, I guess. Feels good, man. That's been something that I'm thinking about. Oh, I dropped the thing. That's been something that I've been thinking about for a while. So I want to turn that into like a proper, like really, really well scripted video, and talk more about that whole. I keep on forgetting that if I shoot, I drop this thingy, and talk more about the missing co-op element of Warframe, you know, because that's what's killing it at the minute. The reason the co-op, which is sad, because I wouldn't even call this a co-op game anymore. Because why would you? Just press 1 forehead. My left click forehead. Kill that guy forehead. Do a big old slam forehead. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe if you're a newer player, you won't feel that way because you still need somebody to hold your hand to go in through Warframe. But just keep watching this series. It'll prove to you that you don't need people to help you throughout Warframe. You can farm everything by yourself. You can do it. You're a big boy. Feels good, man. You just gotta know. You just gotta know the way. See, Twitch chat would be all like, oh my god right now, but I'm not streaming, so. I did see a comment of somebody asking me if I'm gonna stream this. I don't like streaming it because, like, streaming is fun and everything, but like if you're trying to focus on the game, you're gonna have somebody who comes into your chat as like, you know, they're trying to tell you about your day, and you're trying to remember what they're saying about their day, but you're also trying to, you know, figure out what to talk about in regards to the game and have a conversation with 9 million different people. Like, Twitch chat's very, very difficult to talk to, and I think I do really, really well in this sense of talking to everybody who comes in the Twitch chat and kind of trying to listen to their stories and such. But with the amount of questions that you get asked about the game, and then the amount of personal details you have to remember about each individual, especially in a very, very tight-knit community like Warframe, where instead of just being a viewer in a Twitch chat, I kind of aim for the feeling that, you know, people in my Twitch chat are more like friends, right? I want to try to remember the most about them that I can. Well, apart from birthdays, because, you know, birthdays are difficult to remember. But I try to make people feel like I'm their friend, opposed to just being another viewer in the chat. That's really what I try to aim for. And of course, like, that doesn't work all the time, because people kind of see me as this, oh, this guy's the big streamer guy, you know, I better not message him because he's big scary man, and I don't want to waste his time. It's not really like that at all. You know, I want to talk to as many people as I can about Warframe and really have a, or start a discussion about the game, because the only way that we are really going to ever, you know, get things that we want in regards to Warframe is to have a very noteworthy conversation about it, not making the type of rant videos that you see where people are like, oh yeah, this is going downhill, I'm right, you're wrong, DE need to do this, blah 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 blah. Having a conversation where you point out the facts about something, you're very level-headed, and you try to figure out what is possible, you know, in reality, what is possible, provide a solution, and just continue to keep on talking about it. That's how you're going to get what you want out of Warframe and the developers. Like, you're never, ever, ever going to get, yes, we will definitely 110% add that into the game. You're only going to get, all right, we will try to do that, you know. What you are suggesting kind of has to line up with what the developer's intention is to begin with, if that makes any sense. It's like, use Overwatch as an example, right? Like, you can't really turn around and say that a character is broken unless they're in, like, insanely broken. You can kind of just give feedback on what playing that character feels like. So you can say, oh, I feel like the damage over time on Ash's Dynamite is kind of insane right now. You know, and a developer will make tweaks accordingly to adjust that so it lines up with how they intended it to feel to the player, if that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of rambling about game design at the minute, but but that's realistically all you can really do, you know, because it has to line up with what the developer intended it to feel like. So you gotta be thinking like a developer whenever you're suggesting feedback to a developer, and you can't just kind of baby rage out there and say, this is failing, this sucks, blah blah blah, we want more, DE has to do something, etc etc. You have to actually look at what's wrong and think, all right, if I was Digital Extremes, how would I fix this? And then talk to yourself about it, or talk to other people about it. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'd like to suggest with Warframe. It just takes a lot of time and effort to create a video. But I think with all that being said, I'm going to end this episode of the From Zero playthrough, because we're now 27 minutes in, almost half an hour long. Thank you guys for sticking around as long. If you did stick around to the end of the video, you guys are cool, and I appreciate you. If you liked the video, go ahead, hit that like button below. And if you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.